when last we left our intrepid adventurers.
And the Serpent Queen.
And the Serpent Queen. The Serpent Queen was finishing up, reaching baseline. And there was very little left to do after that because we had the domestic thing sorted out, we had the war, we had all that. But there was one thing I needed to do in there, or Cricket needed to do, that was basically, no, there were two things. Two more things were done that were significant.
I need to betray the party.
Actually, she kind of did in a little tiny way, but then she made up for it by fixing her of one betrayal. It's complicated. I'll get to it right now, actually. The Mouchard family, Cricket's original owners. In the original timeline, they got wiped out. All of them killed, including the children, including the younglings. And I didn't want that to happen. So I stopped it from happening. And the experience that Cricket had that sent her on the quest, it was me. I was impersonating Dolores Mouchard, and I told her, run and all that. So basically, I'm a self-made character at this point. Every major event in my life was actually me pretending to be things that were, But, of course, the problem with this is now Cricket was always owned by the Mouchards. So I went to them, I approached them and said, okay, I've saved you from this. I would like, as, recompense or whatever, I need you to sign over Cricket, the ownership of Cricket, to the people of the Empire. All of the people in the Empire are to have a single non-transferable share each. And so I turned the Empire of Endless Flowers into a democracy without them even knowing it.
A co-op.
Yes. The people of the Empire have no clue that they are living, or will be as soon as I retake the throne, I suppose, in a democracy. I felt that this was a reasonable thing to do, given that I had basically destroyed domestics for the Empire. I kind of owed them.
Yeah.
And how do you make up for owing them millions of domestics? I got to be owned by all of them, essentially. Fill this in. Have to make it right. Also, it was becoming increasingly apparent that the amount of power that would be wielded by owning the Empress was perhaps a little bit much to be putting in Serendipity's hands. Greater good and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, and then it was almost time to catch up to baseline, but there was one thing I wanted to do that was just for me, just for Cricket. I infiltrated the Drow flying tower.
Okay.
And the party, I was like following along just behind the party.
Yeah.
The party went to the top of the tower in the course of that adventure. They captured a Drow.
Mm-hmm.
They had him tied up and interrogated him. And then they ordered Cricket to take him to the bottom of the tower.
Mm-hmm.
And Cricket pushed him off the tower and he died.
Yep.
Because Cricket hated that guy, he was a slaver.
I remember.
Yes, and I've always felt bad about taking deliberate liberties with an order like that. So I caught the Drow at the bottom of the tower, saved him.
And then snapped his neck.
And then what?
And then snapped his neck.
No, I sent him off to prison forever. Because he's a slaver. But yes, that was the one regret Cricket had. And she fixed it. She never actually killed that Drow. She caught him at the bottom. And then we caught up to base.
So I think Cricket's plan is post-campaign to retake the throne, because the Serpent Queen is like the hero who is like, we shouldn't do all this evil stuff. And the General's like, yes, we are. And it turned out bad.
Yep.
So we're like, we should have listened to her all along. If only she was still with us.
Yep. And I'll be able to come back to them and say, I survived the attack, but, I believed in freedom of determination and all that kind of stuff, and you guys seem to want to do this evil thing. So I, recovered from I recuperated. And then when the war ended, I offered you this new approach, and you took it. Hooray! You people are good.
Well, and the world in general remembers that things were better when the Serpent Queen was there. The evil weren't so bad. But then when she was gone, it was like when Hitler came to power, and they're like, oh wow, they turned like super evil. It was way better before that happened. So then the world in general will be a little happier if the Serpent Queen returns.
Right, because there are only two real options. Ruled by Hitler or ruled by an immortal Serpent Queen.
Who's secretly actually running a democracy.
Well, one of the things I had changed about how the Empire ran earlier was that I really made an important concerted effort to hold court where people could bring petitions and grievances. So, yeah, I'll continue doing that. People could bring petitions and grievances. So, now it's time to meet up with the party. And there was a big debate that went on way longer than it should have about where we should meet. And ultimately they decided that they would come to the Temple of Freedom.
The heart of your power.
The heart of... It's essentially, yes.
Yeah, that was the debate. They were like, well, that makes most sense, but what if crickets turned evil?
Yeah. And they were all like, well, I guess we'll have to kill her either way, so... No.
Either way, really?
Not either way. I mean, like, if she's turned evil, we'll have to kill her, so it doesn't matter where we meet her.
Right.
Or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we meet, and I've prepared this awesome banquet, and it's super nice.
This nice cake, and they're like, ooh, is it cheesecake?
It's like, I missed you guys.
Well, for Cricket, she hasn't seen them in 1,500 years. For the party, it's been like 3 weeks. They just waited for time to catch up.
Actually, I did get caught up because I was tapping Cricket's senses with that scrying spell for Cricket's entire life. So, I become refamiliarized with them, so it wasn't a huge shock.
What's your name again?
That's a good question, isn't it?
Well, Cricket, at this point, Cricket has been the Serpent Queen for 90% of her life. Being Cricket would feel like a distant childhood, I think.
Yeah.
So it'd be really nostalgic. It'd be like bringing it, you get the game that you played when you were like 12.
Yeah.
Like, I remember this game. I remember Croesus.
I remember the little people.
I actually called Croesus Little Croesus at one point because he is younger and smaller than me now. And Tim sort of was like, he recognized that was accurate. But yes, so I mostly convinced them that I was still good, that I hadn't gone evil, except right at the very end. But we'll get to that. I will. So we discussed, now that we're all back together again, what to do next. And we decided that the doppelgangers are still the biggest threat. Even though we nuked their major force, they're still out there. And was it Serendipity did a time roll or something and determined that they were still gnawing away at the foundations of time or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was largely you had figured this out. It's kind of interesting because I had intended a lot of this information to come out more like by interacting with the doppelgangers, but then every time you guys interacted with them, Cross was just like, I kill you now. And then Cricket had a bunch. The Serpent Queen had been learning a bunch of time travel stuff, so Cricket and her organization had learned a bunch of stuff and had done a bunch of intel on the doppelganger. So they kind of learned this information dry and boring way.
Many Bothans died to get us this information.
Yes. Yeah. So I told them that I felt cheated because I didn't get to do my monologue of. You fool! You think you defeated us by killing the end of all things and by stopping this? But all along, you're just making things worse as we break time more and more! So that monologue was delivered to some agent off screen who just reported it back that they're observing that there's just so much time travel going on. Reality is cracking more and more, and it's progressing towards a point where it's all just going to break apart. So that seems to be the doppelganger's plan. Is
make the party different rank so much that they break time.
Well, and if they go back and wreck something, and the party goes back and fixes it, and time is even more cracked.
Yep, it's like double your effort.
And they're doing lots of things that are like extreme changes. They attempt extreme changes, and either succeed or fail. They crack up time, and that's why they wanted to go back and change the Lost War. Their plan was like.
We don't actually care who wins.
It's a major change, so that's going to break time.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing that they're going for right now is, the more time travel that goes on, the more their plan is furthered.
So it's very simple then. All we have to do is track down shapeshifters who are capable of time travel. All of them.
And they determined through their intel.
Have you considered making a virus?
That the mouths of the void,
we can't kill the ones that we've already interacted with before we interact with them, though. So I actually was considering that. I was like, what if we try and make boatloads of that doppelganger poison and just go throughout time putting it in reservoirs and stuff.
If we give the aliens a code,
But if we do that, then we'll likely accidentally kill doppelgangers that we interacted with before we interact with them. So, you know.
There goes the time stream.
Yeah. So I can't even do that anymore. So yeah.
Kill them all in the present.
And the 6 mouths of the void have scattered themselves across time and are kind of hiding out.
Yeah.
So
Tricky. There were 4. You said there were usually 4, but it varies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry, man. Yeah.
I was like, oh no, 6. Oh, man. However, Serendipity did a bunch of thinking about how time works and whatever, and Arcana checks. And I guess Cricket did too, but Serendipity is still better at this.
Yeah, well, I thought it was Cricket's idea, but she couldn't do the testing because she didn't have, I can't remember the name of it, but the other bone of the earth that locks things down.
And then I suggested, why didn't Cricket, at some point throughout history, go and steal it from the Spellblades, use it, and then give it back to the Spellblades?
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, but Cricket is not that much higher level than when they were at the... It's not like the Drow Tower where she's like 20 levels higher.
Right,
It's like, I can just go there.
Yeah.
But like...
It would have been a whole separate campaign.
That was only like
going
5
on
to
there,
7
so.
levels ago. I don't think you can just assume that you will be able to do that.
And I'm fine with I could try and find it before the Spellblades get a hold of it. Of course, I don't know when that was, so whatever. Doesn't matter. We have a different idea.
Okay, maybe I didn't need another rib. Where's the lady? Oh, fine.
Anyway, we came up with a different approach. We don't necessarily need to kill the doppelgangers. We just need to stop them from being able to break time. And we have a time stabilization device. Is there anything we can do with this to counteract them without actually having to track them all down individually?
Stabilize every bit of time forever?
Pretty much. We couldn't do it like that because then time travel would be impossible.
And that also, you'd have to actually, like, it only stabilizes 10 minutes at a time.
You got it for a long
Yeah.
time.
And in a localized area.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could, like, make a bot that's just running.
Or just have Cricket do it.
All right, for the next 20 million years of meta time, you'll be doing nothing but casting this ritual over and over again.
I'm very stealthy, so I suppose I can go around and... Anyway, no, we're not going to do that. Cricket's had enough of that for now. But instead what we can do is...
So at this point, the party no longer owns Cricket, right?
This is true. Yes, I mentioned that.
Yes, so you no longer need to do anything they say.
I don't. It's very liberating.
And in fact, the party never owned Cricket.
It's true.
They thought they did.
Yeah, they just thought, and Cricket thought. It was all a misunderstanding. However...
I think they owe the Empire back.
What was that?
They owe the Empire back for renting the Empress.
That's true.
But you were talking about once you become the queen, making them honorary citizens if they want to.
Yeah.
So then they will own a non-transferable share of Cricket,
Yeah.
like everyone else.
They could probably become citizens now if they wanted to, but no one seemed eager to jump on that particular offer for some reason.
I have to take a break.
The party... what did they say that he was for Astrid? They, like, dumped her somewhere and said...
Yeah, we rescued from this boulder. It's been such and such a long time.
Well, they did do the boulder thing.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
she woke up or got out of there and she's like, all right, well, I need to find the Knights of the Banner. So she went off to quest to find the Knights of the Banner. And potentially possible she might become one again because they're like these like legendary heroes. So presumably they all started as random guys and they all earned their legendariness. So maybe she'll re-earn her legendariness.
My intention, or Cricket's intention, was to tell Sir Astrid everything and sort of like not exactly get her approval, but let her judge whether Cricket had misused her immortality or whatever. I thought it was only fair.
The party doesn't want Sir Astrid to learn about time travel, but they don't own Cricket, so they can't tell her not to.
That's true. Yeah. And if you're going to trust anyone with knowledge of time travel, wouldn't a Knight of the Banner be someone you could trust?
Yeah, although...
Even though she's not the wisest of the bunch?
I think wisdom is pretty important for I'm going to go back in time and right every wrong. Turns out that made everything even worse. Like, I could see... I'm not saying she would do that. I'm just... You never know, right? Just because someone's good doesn't mean they wouldn't screw up the time travel thing. Yeah. They would go back and do good things, but it's more... There's a meta thing of like, well, you can't just do everything good because it will break.
Well, basically, I was going to offer, if she wanted to, she could become my vizier, in a sense. Well... If she took, I just
It's
thought
just
it
like
was.
automatic. Although,
I just thought it'd be really, it'd be
blue on a goatee.
a fun sort of reversal. You know, having the Serpent Queen with the Paladin Vizier rather than.
Well, and it's actually a good plan because, you know, no matter what, you always end up with a Vizier, and they're all obviously going to be evil and try to betray you. So if you seek out the person in the world who's least likely to betray you, make them your Vizier. Now the position is filled.
Yeah.
So no one can come in.
So yeah, that's my general plan. But you know, the thing that Cricket is finding very liberating is that there are no plans anymore. We've reached baseline, so she doesn't know the future anymore.
I wonder what will happen when someone finds the 4 pieces of the wish.
That is an interesting question. We would have gone on a quest to do that. I had sort of assumed that if Sir Astrid decides to betray me, she's going to go off on a quest to do that. But maybe I could have her do that to get a hold of them so I can put them somewhere safe or destroy them or something like that. You know. But again, I have no idea because we're at baseline and that's awesome. I have no idea what's going to happen.
I mean,
You
and
can
the party,
kill anyone.
the party only really had an option to do that when they were like high level,
Yeah.
and they only wanted to do that because the Serpent Queen was evil. So, as long as there aren't that many high level guys who think the Serpent Queen is evil, it's not that big a risk, really.
Yeah.
Or did the party know about the wish being out there before?
They did, yes. That was they were going to go on. The plan was they were going to have to go on a quest to find the 4 pieces, but they circumvented that by just avoiding the problem. Yeah.
We were talking about like if someone wanted to kill Cricket.
Yeah. I was talking about how I was kind of annoyed that the party had sent Sir Astrid off, told her those lies, and sent her off because Cricket wanted to basically tell her everything and say this is what I did with your immortality.
Right.
And you know.
Please approve.
Yes, do you approve? And actually, I was going to offer her a position of Vizier. When Cricket retakes the throne.
Right.
I thought it'd be a pretty fun reversal to have the Serpent Queen, you know, be the queen, and then the paladin hero is the Vizier.
Yeah.
And then if she decides to betray me, she's got to go and find the quest, etc. It's pretty amusing. And also, it'd be very validating if she approved and I didn't have to kill her. That would be very nice. But anyway, so I'm going to have to track her down myself because the party had already preempted this. They put her in a stone and given her the lies and sent her off to, Anyway, so the plan that we came up with to deal with the problem of doppelgangers messing with time.
Right.
After researching the matter, we discovered that what we could do with this Panadar and Pan whatever it is, the time locker.
Pan Yestar.
Pan Yestar. We could stabilize time to such a degree, sort of like a highly diffuse version of the lockdown a single moment. It would be sort of just soothe the cracks in time.
Right.
Well, that's interesting because that was what you guys were thinking you would discover, but that's not actually how I was envisioning what you found.
In order to make this happen, it was, I thought that would be the result of the thing that you said we had to do.
Well, I mean, I guess it's a minor point, but I was imagining it like you're stabilizing the 2 ends of it, and it's not going to wreck anymore. But it's actually not going to like fix anything. It's just not going to wreck anymore.
Yeah, that's fine. That fits with sort of how I was imagining. Basically, we have to take Panadar and go to the earliest moment in time that we can reach and the latest moment in time that we can reach and do a ritual at each end of that. And that will stabilize time so that it won't break apart from all the cracks and whatnot. And each of those adventures is going to have some very interesting limitations on what we can do and stuff. Going back to the earliest moment we can reach, that's going to be the tricky one. We go to the very earliest moment we can reach. Not necessarily the moment of the universe's creation, but as far back as Panadar can go. My speculation is it's going to be the moment of Panadar's creation. I think that'll be really cool if we can go and see what those elves were up to.
Right.
On that other continent or whatever.
If they make this, I wonder what kind of weird shit they'll get up to.
So yeah, we don't we finished the session before we actually found out when those moments in time were going to be. But yeah, the thing about going back to the very beginning is don't touch anything, because butterfly effect up over that amount of time is going to be huge. And the other thing is going to the very end of time, or not the end of time, but at least as far forward as we can go. We're going to be in the extreme future. And the problem there is if we learn any information,
Right.
now that becomes baseline,
Right.
and then the campaign's over. Because it's at the end of time. Presumably.
Well, it could be
it
could be not. It could just be the first thing you know, but still.
Still, we're never actually going to know whether it's the end of the universe or not.
It's critical that you don't learn whether it's the end of the universe or not, or what.
Yeah.
You can't learn anything.
So what we're going to do, and we decided to do that one first. What we decided we were going to do is we were going to blind and deafen ourselves and communicate only using the sending stones. And we're going to go to the future and do this ritual, like in complete ignorance of what's around us.
Yeah. I smell burning.
No!
Yeah, nose plugs too.
Nose plugs.
Well, I think you don't learn anything from burning.
It's something.
If
we
all
don't
you
want to
smell
risk
is
anything.
burning, then you're like, oh no, the world is burning.
Or you're just near a
We just happen to have come out in a campfire or something.
You need to roll investigate to figure out how much you learned from the smell. If you roll too high, the campaign ends.
I really don't think that you will be able, like, if you learn that it is smoky where you arrive, the conclusions that
It
you
smells
can,
like a burning city.
you don't know what city, you don't know where you went, you have nothing to go on.
You have a little bit
Yeah.
because there's because you're also thinking, could this be the end of the world? If you smell burning, you're like, oh no, the world ends in flame. Because you don't know that.
We may actually need to put up some kind of environment bubble around us, because if it's like frigid cold, or if it's a vacuum or something like that, that also gives us information.
I think blind, deafen, and nose plugs are probably good enough.
Okay. And we are almost certainly going to be attacked by something.
Because
And we can't find out what it is that we're being attacked by.
Right.
But they know the doppelgangers would have been able to figure this out too. So it's almost certain that they have sent agents to protect those moments in time.
Right.
Or there are horrific monsters at the end of time that attack time travelers the moment they come out. Who knows?
Either way, it's likely
won't.
they will be attacked. So they're going to blind and deafen themselves, teleport somewhere, and probably be attacked, have a combat, assuming they survive through the ritual.
Yeah.
That's their plan.
It's going to be interesting. How is the battle mat going to work?
I think I'm going to have you guys
Just
place
be
in
an
there. I'm
empty
going to have
thing.
my own secret.
Yeah.
I'll keep track of the combat. You guys will.
Oh no! The future is full of knee-high obstructions. Ow! Ow!
So, my understanding is that Canada has nothing to do with actually time traveling. It just stabilizes you.
Yes. Yeah. It's.
So how do you find out how far back Pandar can go?
Arcana roll?
Okay.
I guess. I don't know.
Keep them further back until you die from the time tower?
Yes.
No, it's not so much Panadar can go, but just how far back you can time travel at all. Because they got to stabilize the beginning and the end of the timeline. I said it was like if you built a deck and just put it on cinder blocks, and now it's like sliding off, and people are hitting it with giant sledgehammers, so it's like sliding off, and you're putting in pilings and putting the deck on the pilings, so even though it's cracked up and been hit with a hammer, now it's not going to move.
Yeah, we could immediately tell his deck analogy was poor, but he just kept on charging down that analogy. But yes, so that's what we'll do first, and then we'll do the past one. And in some regards, that'll be easier because we won't have to be blinded and deafened. However, we are going to have to stop Ben-Gerard from stealing anything.
Ooh, the first life form.
I actually, in order to entice Ben-Gerard, I said, you could steal the first thing.
In this orb, I hold in my hand what will become all creation. Yoink!
Back to baseline with you. Wait.
So we're just like, just claim it in place. I own everything. Carry on.
Pee on it.
No, it's not.
They just
not
go back
like
there, and it's this orb I hold will become all creation. It's Ben-Gerard. Yeah, sorry, it was a stupid idea. There you go.
Of course, we're going to have to fight a bunch of doppelgangers there as well, so that could be troublesome. They're going to try and smash the first thing.
Yeah.
So we'll have to protect it. then we'll all be like, what is that thing anyway? No, personally, I'm hoping that we wind up in the Elven Empire. Got to phone up Ferret and find out what what that was all about.
I still don't think like learning the smell of smoke or whatever would be enough.
I do think there has to be some kind of like, because they were talking about we're gonna like put ourselves in this, trying to like make it
like you can't actually draw a conclusion from that, right? Like,
one thing is
combined with the knowledge that it's the end of time.
It actually helps if you start with some.
Or what you do is you get an apparatus of Qualish and just black out the windows. That way everyone's like trying to battle their way through your tank.
No, I think that, I mean, we also have to do this ritual thing, and presumably that means it'll have to have some kind of magical permeability to get out, all that kind of stuff, so there might be some limits on just how much we can seal ourselves off.
Because the problem is, like, knowing how things turn out so that you can change them.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, and it helps. If you go with a rigid set of assumptions about like how this such and such doesn't like. Okay, well, if we're talking about anything, it's almost certainly the doppelgangers that have traveled us.
Yeah.
So you just assume that, and you get attacked by something, then you're not going to gain information, even if it turns out it was just. The world is all bears now. Right. Bears. You don't know that, so.
Right.
Why is the floor so shifty and furry? Turns out the whole world is bears.
I mean, cricket will be fine in either case.
Well,
being immortal.
Yeah. It's still a bit extreme. I'd rather not risk it.
Yeah.
And I just started to feel good about not knowing the future anymore. And actually having options.
Two comments I had. One where they can't do anything and one where they can't learn anything.
Yeah.
It's going to be challenging. But then once we've done that...
You got to have, like, different temptations for them to learn stuff.
Don't give Gerard any temptations. Or the whatever it is out there that's trying to go for the blindfolds. Yeah. We won't know that it's doppelgangers for sure. So anyway, that was pretty much the adventure. I mentioned... the party had accepted that Cricket hadn't turned evil until right at the very end when I mentioned that I didn't intend to give my immortality back to Sir Astrid. And Croesus immediately was like, oh, I guess she turned evil. And that was it. He's now convinced that she's evil.
Just because you don't want to give your
immortality back? Because I don't want to give my immortality back.
I don't know if...
I think I'm doing better with it than Sir Astrid was.
Yeah, she kind of fucked it up there.
Yeah, and just generally, I spent the last 1,500 years working my tail off, down in the trenches every day.
Yeah.
Whereas what do great heroes do? Oh, they kill a monster. That's...
Lied to by a serpent.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't think Croesus was like, oh, she's evil as much as... if you don't give it back to her and she wants it, that's evil. That's wrong. And so it wasn't so much that it's like, oh, she's turned evil, we're going to kill her. Or it's like, no, that's unacceptable. You can't do that.
Yeah. Well, I think even if she wants it back, she doesn't really deserve it.
Cricket didn't even have to listen to Croesus before.
Yeah.
But he can fix anything.
Though she does see the party as friends and allies, so she would like to be on their good side.
Saving the world is still critical.
Oh, certainly, yes.
You'd be stranded in the far future.
That's true. If they see the future and I don't, then I can go back, and they're stuck there.
Even if you see the future,
didn't
you
just say
back.
You didn't turn evil?
You never know.
That'd be great if you're like, actually I turned evil, but I just fooled you all. The ritual I cast for blindness, it only lasts one round, except for the one I cast for myself.
And the Pantadar would still protect them in baseline. They just have to come back to the end of time.
Then they couldn't change things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, depending on what they see, it's risky because
this is.
It's so.
Well, they couldn't live there without the Pantadar, right?
Well, they can.
Oh, they can live there.
They live in the future, but they can't live in the fate. They can't live in the
It would turn the future into baseline.
Yeah.
And it would be the furthest point you could travel forward to, which probably means that there aren't any points after that. Yeah. Which means that you don't want to just ride it out from there because you won't have very far to go.
Right.
Wait, is that the Serpent Queen destroying the world?
But yeah, they could travel back to current baseline with Pantadar with them at all times.
Yeah, and live out their lives.
And potentially, but
Maybe.
I think the gulf will be so vast that it'll be like going back to the beginning of time where the slightest thing will be pulling Jenga blocks, so they'll have to be very careful.
Yeah.
Cricket would survive. Immortal Serpent Queen doesn't get Jenga towered.
John said even that would be a little bit stretchy
so
there. It's difficult.
She was always very careful to like not push too far. I mean, there is limits to it. So
did she resist the time tower? Did the Serpent Queen resist the time tower?
She does. She inherently resists the time tower.
Because basically, if it kills her, it doesn't do anything. But it can still resist her effects that it's trying to do.
Basically, I'm immune to the time tower, but everyone around me isn't.
Right.
So if I'm like trying to give some order to do something that the time tower doesn't like, everyone I give the order to gets squished instantly, and I'm like, this is not working out well.
Like unlimited power.
Actually, I had considered weaponizing this. Anytime there was someone that I wanted to assassinate, I could just whisper secrets about the future into their ear.
Off you go then.
And then they're just coincidentally, I didn't do it.
Or in the fighting with the doppelgangers in the distant past, you pick something up, and then you and all the doppelgangers die. Like
and toss it to the doppelganger.
Yeah.
It's like hot potato.
Those neutral over there. I'll hold them off here. Then you massive AOE them.
As far as what she can get away with, I kind of imagine it as, like, whenever you're doing anything with the time tower, if you mitigate it so that it seems largely the same, then you pull less Jenga blocks.
Yeah.
And so I figure she just kind of has like a cap. Like, she can do whatever she wants as long as that thing would pull less than 15 Jenga blocks.
Right.
As soon as it's over that, it's still going to squish her or whatever.
Yeah.
More than I thought, but
Something.
yeah, something along those lines. Because, I mean, I did tweak with time quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because at some point,
I was always careful not to touch anything that affected the personal histories of the party.
The destiny of time, I mean, it can do almost anything, including being like, weird, the wish wore off. You're dead.
Yeah.
So it could theoretically still get her.
Yeah, in a straight up fight, the time tower still wins.
Yeah. So was Serendipity's brother more powerful? Yeah, I think so.
Aurora's brother?
Aurora's brother.
Yeah, so he was completely immune to the time tower.
Right.
But he was...
So all I have to do is eat Aurora's soul like 15 or 20 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was because with the analogy that fate is like a surface. It's like a 4-dimensional surface in 5 dimensions, or imagine just a 2D surface in 3 dimensions. And reality is like a ball rolling down the easiest path.
Yeah.
If you want to go out, you got to go up over whatever. But he was like a black hole, so he just punched a hole wherever he did. That was the easiest path now.
Yeah.
So he was immune to the time tower, but that was more powerful. But he also basically just got it and then got killed. So
Yeah.
So I will have to be very careful when going. No, I don't need that kind of power. I don't think. I'm at baseline. The future is undefined.
Right.
Until you define it.
I also talked about the idea that Cricket had that because she interacted with some of the Mouths of the Void when negotiating the deals, and they were the most
human-like.
Yeah, they were the most like people. They actually seem to be less idiomatic and more just like you could potentially reason with them. And she had a thought that someone who really cared about people and had like a great diplomacy was there, that maybe they could be swayed.
Yeah.
And she wished that Aurora was with them. And so there was on the table the idea of like, hey, we can go see, because Aurora's soul is leaking into history. It's not even clear if it rebooted to level 1 or what.
Right.
And so they could go find Aurora, but Gross was just like, no, they're monsters. We gotta kill them.
Or get Ben Jordan to make out with all of them.
I also suggested that we need to have Ben Jordan go throughout time seducing all the doppelgangers. But that suggestion wasn't taken
Create a
either.
cross-breeded race of doppelgangers.
At this point, if they can completely lock down time, then the doppelgangers become much less of a threat. They can go back in time and screw over their personal timeline, but they can't.
It's not going to destroy the universe.
Yeah.
Right.
So they may be able to be relegated to like a post-campaign cleanup if they can completely lock down time.
I think we're still going to have to try and find some special edge to clean them up, because even this I can't really dismiss as a post-campaign cleanup, because time-traveling shapeshifters. How?
They could be anywhere.
They could be anywhere. They could be anyone.
Anyone.
I mean, they can't be me because I took that potion. But we can't, aerosolize that potion and spread it throughout time because we still need there to be doppelgangers at a certain point. Unless I was all the doppelgangers.
I mean, you can use How to Disguise to turn into anyone.
And I do have the half shadow template thing, so
Actually,
I have a really high bluff score. I can swallow things.
that just made me think of an idea. I hadn't thought of this, but I don't know if I should give you guys a good idea like this. But I just thought if you have that doppelganger poison and you had some sort of delay mechanism, you could go back to the moment the first doppelgangers come through the portal and inject them
Poison
with the 20,000 year then you die poison.
Yeah.
And if it passes on to all their progeny, then at some point just
you recombine their DNA to have an extinguishing date.
yeah.
Or have it work on a
That
trigger.
might work.
Yeah.
Right after they meet the party.
Well, yeah, I guess you could set how resin has two components, right? You set up one half.
Our mere presence is toxic
at
to them.
baseline, you aerosolize the second
Yeah,
half.
Well, then they'd still be a throat history.
Well, no,
Yeah,
the second half is just after they interact with the party, then it activates, which destroys their bodies. Turns out they don't benefit when they die. Just your poison taking effect after you finish the encounter.
You still got to have some delay because you've got to it's got to basically be all the ways they went back in time and screwed the party over have to happen.
Yeah.
So you've got to get it, and if it's on a time trigger, then even if they've traveled away from baseline to other times, their meta time will run out.
Yeah.
And that will get them. So it can't be.
It can't be baseline based. It has to be,
You can base the
meta-time-based.
timing on baseline,
Right.
so that either at baseline they die, or wherever they got to in meta time they're gonna die. But
So I think it's time to send Cricket back 15 years to spend a long time doing arcane research.
Yeah.
that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that, but it might work.
I'm gonna be all the doppelgangers somehow, aren't I? I mean, I have been setting myself up that way, haven't I?
I'm telling you, Free's gonna beat every NPC and most of the PCs.
All it turns out all the Warforged were just me in a mech suit.
So you threw yourself down the pit.
There's this little snake inside the big mech suit.
Brian's character takes over another campaign.
This was my simple campaign. And I was just thinking about how nice it was that now I'm all the time travel shenanigans are done, and I'm simply the ruler of an empire. Nothing complicated there. Nope. Friggin' doppelgangers.